Hi and welcome to the Foodbod Pod YouTube channel. I'm Elaine Body and the Foodbod Pod is a podcast all about food, by food lovers, for food lovers. And in this episode, episode 5, you can hear me talking to Sophie Rushton Smith from the Corner Plot. Sophie is a brilliant cook, home cook, home baker. She makes fabulous food that you can see on Instagram and TikTok. And what you'll hear in the podcast is Sophie sharing her top tips in the kitchen, why she's called Dr. Fish, and she goes on to share a recipe with us for fabulous butter beans and baked feta. So please do listen to the podcast. You'll hear all the conversation and all of her tips. Come back here to watch us making the recipe in her beautiful kitchen. Find everything that you need on our website, foodbodpod.com. Join our Facebook group, the Foodbod Pod. It's all just talking about food. If you love food, you're going to love it all. So enjoy this episode. Enjoy watching us in the kitchen. And if you do try the recipe, come back and let us know. Enjoy.
Welcome to my kitchen.
Thank you for having us. So today, everybody, we are here in this very, very beautiful kitchen with Sophie Rushton Smith from the Corner Plot. And before you go on to tell us more about you and make us some amazing food, my stomach's already rumbling, could you just tell us a bit more about who you are and what your background is?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm a scientist by training. I did a PhD in marine biology in fish parasites. So I'm known as Dr. Fish.
Oh!
It was the name the butcher gave me when he saw my checkbook in the days we had checks. So yeah, so I did my research and then I went into medical research.
Okay.
So I now work in cardiology mainly.
So is that kind of your day job?
My day job. That's my 9 to 5 day job.
Do you see overlaps between that and what you do with food?
I think particularly with baking. So as a scientist, you can understand the reactions. So for example, I made a sourdough today, and you've got to have your acidity with your bicarbonate of soda to get that right. So yeah.
Do you know what? We're going to just do that again. She said sourdough and it's soda bread.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Do you want to, is that all right?
Yeah, that was a bit fluffy anyway there, so.
Yeah, so you're okay?
Yeah,
Okay,
still
so
going.
Yeah.
Okay, so. Hi,
Hi, welcome to my kitchen.
thank you for having us. Today, we're here in this extremely beautiful kitchen with the very fabulous Sophie Rushton Smith from the Corner Plot. Before we go on to food, would you like to just tell us a bit more about you and what you do?
Yeah, so I am a scientist by training. I did a PhD in marine biology, and then I went into medical research. So I work mainly in heart disease.
Okay, so that's your day job.
Yes.
Food is also becoming more of your job, I see, and kind of filtering into that. So where do you see the overlaps between what you do in your science world to your food world?
Well, I think in terms of all the chemical reactions that you have going on in food, the caramelization to create flavour, and in baking. So for example, I made a soda bread today, and you have to have your acidity and your bicarbonate of soda for the bread to rise.
I love that. When there's so many recipes that are based on using those two factors, aren't there? And we were in the kitchen with Cherie recently, who made soda farls, which again she was using buttermilk with bicarbonate of soda in the baking powder, and again to do the same kind of job. And I think I love all that stuff, because being from the bread element of it, there's always endless discussions about those things, and the explosions. And when you put a bowl together with some flour and an acidity and an acid and your bicarbonate of soda, and you see it go,
yeah,
I think it's just brilliant. Absolutely
because
brilliant.
I didn't actually have any buttermilk, so I had to add acid to my milk.
So what did you put? Some lemon juice in?
I put lemon juice in, and it all kind of slightly coagulated a little bit, and yeah, so that was a cheats way of making the milk.
So if you wanted to give someone that tip, how long would you put, so you've got some milk, you've added your lemon juice, how long would you leave it for?
Well, I left it for about half an hour, but I also brought it to room temperature because I didn't want the cold milk. So it was sitting on the island for half an hour with the lemon juice, and then it started to thicken up a bit. And then I added through some treacle and some honey, and then gave it a good mix because it all ends up on the bottom. So it takes quite a while to whisk through those thick syrups.
Oh, brilliant. God, I'm looking forward to tasting that. So we are going to move on to making some food. Very exciting.
Right, well, one of the first things I learnt in NOPE is to make sure you've got a sharp knife because it's much safer.
Okay.
So I have this little tool which I keep in its little box.
This little tool is it's a barrel shape, and so you've got on the top, it's the steel, is it, that you're going to rub the knife against?
There's a coarse side and a fine side. So because I've already sharpened it relatively recently, I'll just use the fine side. So I've got a magnetic little block here, and it's got the right Japanese angle, 15 degrees. So I just put the knife on top of that, and then rub the.
So we've got the thing that's got the angle on it. So we've got a wooden piece which has got angles on the side with the magnet. So you use that to hold the knife in place?
Yes.
Oh, I see. And then you're going to rub that across it.
All I do is I run this wheel back and forth, so you don't wreck the blade. Because I took my knives to be sharpened at the Japanese knife shop, and they took one look at them and went, "Oh no, we can't do anything with those." So now I'm just run it over about 20 times, and then turn it round the other way and do the same thing.
Gosh, that's so simple. See, I remember when I was a kid, I can remember my dad with a steel and a carving knife and the whole and the big show of sharpening the knives. That is so simple.
Well, I wish I could do it that way, but I can't. So
but as well, look at the box. This is like your Apple products in beautiful packaging.
And I'm going to give it a wipe. Make sure there's no little.
That's so cool. So we now will want one of those. So that's an absolutely brilliant knife sharpener. So that's always the first thing that you do.
Yeah. So make sure your knife is sharp, because if it's not sharp, you're more likely to cut yourself.
So what is it you're going to make for us today?
I'm going to make a butter bean dish. So these big fat Judion butter beans, they're heritage beans. You can see how thick
They're
they
beautiful.
are.
They're huge.
And there's also a kind of a liquid in there which is quite viscous. And you don't actually need to drain it, you can just add it in because it tastes great. It's not like the watery stuff you get in a jar, in a tin. So this is a really flavoursome liquid to add.
I must admit, if I buy chickpeas, I always buy them in a jar.
So much better.
Always.
Absolutely.
They make such a difference to everything that you make.
Yeah.
So what are you going to be making for us with these?
So I'm going to make a kind of a tomato sauce. I'm going to add a bit of black garlic to it. I'm going to add some white garlic, black garlic, some lemon. It's going to have, what else we're going to have in there? So it's going to be an onion base, first of all, then add in some chilies and some tomato pulpa, which doesn't take much cooking at all.
Okay.
And then I'm going to bake a feta cheese with a bit of coriander seed, lemon and olive oil on top.
So we've got a really nice selection of ingredients going on here. This highly appeals to me, I have to say. So over to you then, Chef.
Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a wet towel, very thin wet towel, under my chopping board.
Oh, to stop it from slipping?
Yep, another thing I learnt in the Ottolenghi restaurants.
So just a thin, we call this a J-cloth, wouldn't we? But just a thin towel just down underneath your wooden board.
If it's too thick, it'll just keep bouncing around. So, and then you can't move your board, so it's much safer.
Fabulous.
So we've got a red onion.
Okay.
Start off with a red onion.
I must admit, I always go for red onions.
A nice one. This one. I don't keep mine in the fridge, do you?
No.
And just peel off the outer layer. Do you want to do that before me?
Yeah,
Thank you.
But I didn't realise I might do some work.
So to make sure that the pieces are small, first of all I've also kept the base, the root attached, so that it doesn't all fall apart when I'm cutting it. So I'm going to cut down from top to bottom. And then I'm going to cut the opposite way.
So you're dicing basically.
Yeah, just dice.
And then you end up with the root still at the other end, and it stopped it from falling apart.
Exactly.
Oh, you've done this before, I see.
I've done it before, not as quick as the chefs in the kitchens.
And you can see how sharp that knife is.
There we go.
Brilliant.
And we're going to have a bit of garlic, so we'll get the onion going first. Soften it, we don't want it browning, we just want it softened.
So we've got a nice big pan sitting on the hob, which is now going to be having a splash of beautiful olive oil. My sister-in-law is Spanish, and she has educated me in olive oil.
Yeah.
And I must admit, it's my favourite. If I can say it properly, the albicchia.
I'll let you say.
Something like that. Anyway, so we've got some olive oil in the pan, and we're on a medium heat.
And you don't need to, you can cook on a higher temperature than we all thought with extra virgin olive oil. And it's probably quite Okay, so the onion's in the pan.
Oh, I'm trying not to cry.
I'm going to add a little bit of salt to that. A bit of Cornish sea salt.
Okay.
I don't use table salt ever.
I like your salt dispenser.
Yeah, no, it's my new toy as well. Satisfying. And I tell you what, you don't find table salt in the Ottolenghi restaurants either. It's all mould and salt.
Okay.
Tubs of it. So even when you're cooking, anything they're cooking, it's all done with this fantastic big flakes. I'll let you deal with that. We just want it just gently cooking, not browning.
Do you want me to be moving it around or leave it for a bit?
Move it around in a minute, but I think we all over stir our pans too much. So just occasionally. Yeah. So I've got some dried purple oregano, Spanish, and I've got some garlic grown by my friend in his garden. So I'm going to
the oregano smells lovely.
I'll get you that in a minute, actually.
So we've got garlic.
So with the garlic, I've just taken out a clove and I'm going to put the knife on top of it with the blade away from me, slightly pointing down, and I'm just going to give it a whack. Okay. And that will take the skin off really easily. So you don't need those fangled things where you have silicone and it rubs it off. The other thing, actually, which is really, I think one of the best tips I heard was when you've chopped garlic and you've got garlic on your hands, wash your hands in cold water.
Yeah.
Because then the pores in your hand don't open up and all the garlic smell doesn't go impregnating in your skin. So, and the other thing is you don't need to buy one of those metal stones that they try to sell.
Oh yeah, I don't
because
know what they're meant to do.
Well, they're supposed to take the garlic smell off, but you can just rub your hands around your sink. Assuming you've got...
So metal does take the smell off?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it does work.
It works.
But you don't need
you don't need all the gadgets. So I'm just going to wipe down my irons because I'm a bit... I always do that. So how's that doing?
Yeah, I did give it another stir. I'll go again.
So we're just going to chop the garlic a bit.
Make sure I'm doing my job. Oh, you really smell. The onions are lovely.
It's just a really simple dish that you can put together, on a weekday night.
See, I've seen some of the things you put on Instagram, and there was that egg tortilla wrap thing that you put on.
Yeah.
Sophie's just added her finely chopped garlic to the pot. And I said to you how useful it was, and I tagged a friend of mine in it because I thought it was a really useful recipe. And you were almost embarrassed saying, no, it's not really a recipe, but it is, because something like that to someone is really useful. It was a pan with some egg and you put the wrap over the top, didn't you? So it ended up being something you folded up together.
It did really well, actually. I was really surprised because it was such a simple thing. I almost didn't post it.
But I think that's it. It's
Yeah.
those little simple things
Yeah.
that you make easily and quickly that people suddenly realise, actually, this is cooking too.
Yeah.
And I have actually cooked something if I've done that, whereas
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be a great, huge, big thing.
And also I had some offcuts of smoked salmon. So I did another one where I just put some smoked salmon on, I had some spring onions and just chucked that in the pan, put a couple of beaten eggs on the top, flipped in the flatbread, cooked it for a couple of minutes, flopped it over, and there you go. It's a simple and really delicious lunch.
And it works really well. So I'm just going to make the point, we are here in Sophie's kitchen. So this is Sophie's home, hence you can hear the doorbell going, because that is real life.
And I've got some dried oregano. I'm just going to,
Just crushing it. So
Crush
you don't,
it.
because it's dried, you can just put it between your fingers.
yeah, and I just added that to the onion.
Straight
Give
into the
that a little
pan.
stir, give them right.
Is this alright on this heat? Do I need to change the heat?
I think I turned it down a bit. And then I'm going to add a bit of Aleppo pepper.
Oh, I like that stuff.
Yeah, so that's just it's just a delicately,
I think because it's got such it has a hint of spice to it, with
Yeah.
a hint of heat without it being too strong.
yeah,
I throw it in everything.
yes. And it's a lovely colour.
Yes.
So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the feta. I've got a block of feta and I've got a lemon,
Yeah.
and I'm just going to use this zester to take off the skin, leave the white pith behind, which is bitter. You can just use a vegetable peeler.
Okay.
So peel it off, and if you shake, I'll show you how to do it. I just need to find.
Because I often use the small side on the grater otherwise.
Oh yeah, but if you're zesting a lemon,
Yeah.
what you have to do is you have to move your hand.
Oh, okay. So what Sophie's doing is using a peeler and just kind of zigzagging across, so that
Yeah.
you've got a beautiful bit of
So it doesn't.
really thin.
It doesn't
So
take.
you're
off
not taking all of the pith with it.
Exactly. But I do have the zester, and that's it creates these long pieces of lemon zest.
Oh, and you can smell it. You can see the it's lemon in the air. You
Yeah.
can smell it. So we've
I'm
got.
going to chuck that in the.
Oh.
Actually, can you turn that down just a little bit, please?
Yeah.
I'm going to put a bit of black garlic in there too.
Oh,
That's
now
a bit
this stuff.
Earthy flavour.
Black garlic is just so yummy because it's caramelised, and that's how it's not actually caramelised. It's how it tastes,
Yeah.
because it's more in the process of how they dry it. But I've had to stop buying this stuff because I would just buy it and eat the whole lot.
Do you eat it just as a?
Just that straight out of the pot.
I've never tried that. I
Oh,
know
God,
you can do
it's
that.
so
I've never
good.
tried it.
What's not very nice though is if you make, because I make a lot of hummus, if you put black garlic in your hummus, you end up with it grey. A real like grey dirty looking thing. It's packed full of flavour but not very attractive.
So I've got some coriander seeds. I'm just going to pop those in this pestle and mortar and give them a light bash.
And we will have this recipe written down for you, so you will be able to actually see this written if that's okay. I didn't tell you
Yeah.
that, you're right there.
So yeah, we can only go with coriander and a bit of black pepper because I love pepper.
So this is all going on top of the feta. So we've got the feta in a little bowl, and we've got
a good drizzle of olive oil.
we've got the lemon rind, we've got some slightly bashed coriander seeds, we've got some pepper, and we've got some olive oil.
A bit
And
of
then
thyme.
a little bit of thyme, dried thyme over the
Oh,
top.
sorry, oregano.
Oregano.
Right.
And that is going to go in the oven like that.
I'm actually going to put a little bit of Aleppo pepper on it as well.
That's really colourful.
So that goes
Really
in a hot
pretty.
oven, 200 for about 20 minutes.
Okay, so would you like to check this and see how this is
Yeah,
going?
okay,
I have
that's
turned it
looking
down.
great. So now we're going to add a tin of pulpa, which is just chopped tomatoes. It doesn't need much cooking, and it doesn't need any extra.
So what's pulpa
Sugar.
different from passata? Is it just a bit thicker by the looks of it?
It's passata's very it's blended. This has got a bit more texture to it, and it's Italian tomatoes picked when they're nice and ripe, and they make sure that they are the right acidity, so you don't have to add any sugar or vinegar to balance the flavour.
Do you know, I'm going to be making a shopping list from all this. So we've now got in the pan our lovely onion and garlic, and the Aleppo pepper and the oregano, and
We're just going to
tomato
let that
pepper.
simmer for a bit, and then we've got these beautiful beans.
So you're going to pour the whole thing even with the sauce, with the juice as well? Is that all going to go in with the juice as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just going to pop it in there. Now, to get
These
them
are
out,
beautiful, big, fat things.
we need to get a knife to get them out because you don't want to damage them. Because
So
there's not
carefully
actually,
easing them out.
so there's not much juice in there.
Oh, there isn't actually,
No,
is there?
no. And I've tasted it. It tastes lovely.
Wow. So we've now got the beans in the pan as well. Oh, look at that.
Do you
Oh,
like spicy things?
Yeah, okay, with spicy.
Have you tried fermented peppercorns?
I haven't.
Would you like to try them?
Oh, I don't know. What, straight as it is?
Yeah.
This would be interesting then. I'll just make sure I've got a drink close by. But just to eat it as it is.
Yeah, they serve them. Like you can have them with drinks.
Oh,
Fruity. Fruity notes, then it turns peppery. Very good for your gut.
yeah. Oh, and then you start to work. Then you start to get the heat.
Yeah.
For someone that doesn't usually eat pepper, you
Don't
start to
you?
get the heat going into your throat. And then, no, I need a drink. Oh my word. Excuse me, what's that? A bit of my tea.
So I'm a great taste judge, and these were one of the products we had to taste. And I was a bit shocked when you heard you had to eat one just like that,
Yeah.
and then maybe have some ice cream after.
Yeah, I can feel it. I have to say.
But it calms down, and it's just really lovely, and it shows you there's a massive difference between the pepper I've got in that and that peppercorn.
I always feel a bit embarrassed we're not pepper connoisseurs in our house.
Well, I think if you did a tasting, if you did a blind tasting, you would definitely be able to tell.
Our producer was in my kitchen asking if they had a pepper grinder. No.
Oh my goodness me! You know
Bit
what?
of a heathen.
The pepper for me is probably the most important spice in the kitchen.
Okay.
Well, yes.
Well, for me, it's probably the Aleppo
yes.
chili flakes.
Just give it a taste.
Actually, for me, it's roasted cumin.
Mm.
I roast my own cumin seeds. And
Definitely
grind
got
them
to.
off.
Yeah, don't buy ground. Just make sure you buy the whole ones, and then
Yeah.
toast them gently until you see.
I'll tell you
Some
what
of
though,
the-
someone did recently on Instagram, which looks really good, is she toasted hers in the air fryer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, works really
Well,
well.
I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah. Because otherwise I do these huge trays of them in the oven, and you might start to get a bit of the kind of smoke that comes from them after
Yeah,
a while.
you've got to wait till you've got to have the smoke coming off them. That's when the oils are being released. So
They're beautiful.
I learned that at OP when I was trying to toast too many of them in a pan, and they went no. It's a slow process. You need to do them separately and not quite so many,
Oh, okay.
because they toast at different times.
Yeah.
So the coriander is going to be quicker than the cumin, and you don't want to burn them, because if you burn them, then that's it. You're done for.
Absolutely.
Right,
This
how's
looks
this
bad.
doing?
So we now have our sauce starting to bubble away a little bit.
So we're just going to let that.
So this
simmer
is
for a
just to
bit.
really cook through the beans, just to warm them up.
Yeah, yeah.
And behind me then in the oven we have the feta going on.
So this is quite a kind of like a wet, let's say wet dish. So we've got some bread, we've got the soda bread to go with it, and we've got the roasted feta to go on top, which will give it a nice kind of contrast.
So you're going to put the feta on the top?
You can put one on the top, or you can serve it on the side. I'm going to cover it with some dill and some parsley. Have I got anything else? Yeah, just lots of lovely fresh herbs.
See, I would almost be tempted to, with my shakshuka head on, just to crack an egg in it.
Well, that's exactly what you can do.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you can do.
Especially for me being
Yeah.
vegetarian, for me
Yeah.
then it adds some protein into it as well.
Yeah, but you've got the protein in the beans too. So
That's
you've
true.
got.
And I think that's what people don't realise when they're looking for protein options, is beans are great.
Yeah,
They're a great option for protein.
yeah.
So are we now at the point of being ready to serve?
We are. The feta cheese is ready. It's in the oven, just finishing off. I've got some lovely dill and some parsley. I'm just going to give it a quick chop. Then put the beans in the dish. Put the feta cheese on top and serve it with the soda bread.
Okay.
So just a
So
little
we've
chopping.
got fresh flat leaf parsley.
Yep, I've taken off the stems, and I'm just going to squeeze it together and then just chop it, keeping my fingers out of the way. So with the parsley, you can chop it both ways, and it doesn't get all crushed and bruised. It's a firm herb. With coriander, you shouldn't do that.
Okay.
So there's the parsley, and then we've got this lovely dill, Mediterranean flavour.
Okay.
Just chop that one way, that's fine. Okay. Ready to go, so I'm going to get the...
I don't want to be in the way yet.
get
So we've got a
plate.
nice big serving dish.
Yep. And I'm just going to serve the beans on top.
So spooning the beans straight into the middle of the plate.
So the sauce is thickened up nicely. And you can see specks of the black garlic, there's a bit of lemon there. So you don't
Lovely.
eat that bit, but...
You know, it's all the cooked bits around the edges where it
Yeah.
kind of sticks to it. That's the bit that I would be getting a spatula and just cleaning all of that. They know in my kitchen that nothing is finished until I've got a spatula and gone all the way around the inside of something. You know, burn your mouth, all of it. Okay, so we've got the beans on
chef's
the plate.
treat, I think we call that. Now we're going to get the feta out of the oven. I'm pretty sure you could cook this in an air fryer as well. I did
I'm sure
wonder.
you could because it had the element yourself on the top.
Exactly.
So the feta has come out. Oh, the olive oil's bubbling away.
Yeah. So it's nice and soft.
And we've got the
Very
pieces on the top.
carefully,
It's all slightly
Very
baked.
carefully
Oh,
transfer it over.
because where it's been baked, it's having a bit of goo going on.
Yeah. And then there's some lovely olive oil, so I'm just going to pour that over the top.
Fabulous.
It's got a lovely texture when it's been baked.
God, it smells good.
And then we're just going to sprinkle it with lots of lovely herbs.
That looks amazing. And that is ready to go
That is ready to go.
on a table.
Yeah, I'm actually going to... No, I can't find it. Sorry about this. I'm going to put just a little bit more lemon zest on the top.
Wow.
There we go.
So if you would like to see all the details of how Sophie has made this, we will have the recipe on our website, and you'll be able to watch the full video that we'll have on our YouTube channel, and we'll also have some snippets on Instagram. And what we're about to do now, Sophie's about to slice this soda bread. So can you just tell me, because I know you used beautiful flowers in this, so what flowers did you use in the soda bread?
So I use the ancient Cotswold Crunch, ancient grains and spelt flakes.
So this is the Matthew's Cotswold Flour Ancient Cotswold Crunch. I love that. Nothing is better than Cotswold Crunch flour.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's all just that flour? So
It's
you've got
just that flour.
Just that flour
Yeah, because it's already a mix, so I thought, well, I'll just try it with that.
with your homemade buttermilk and your
Yeah. And it's got some...
bicarbonate soda.
It's got bicarb, it's got treacle, and it's got some honey.
Oh.
And it's also, I've also put some chives in it, and what else have I put in?
We'll have the recipe. We'll have the recipe on the website, so don't worry about that. Oh. Look at that, you can see the speckles all the way through.
It's got oats as well in it.
So what we're going to do is we're going to tuck in. So we're going to say goodbye for now, and thank you so much for having us in your kitchen. It's just, the kitchen is beautiful, watching you cook is beautiful. I love it because it's such the movement is a dance around the kitchen because you know what everything is in your kitchen.
Yes.
And it's just, but I like that when I'm at home, it's that dance around all of your space. So I'm sorry, poor listener, but we're going to tuck in and we'll let you know that I'm sure it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. And you know, if you're here with us, maybe we'd share a bit with you.
Yeah.
But thank you for having us.
Thank you very much for coming.